Just about 2 weeks away from Election Day, we'll have the latest CBS poll that shows us where Wisconsin voters stand.
Plus, Democrats giving an ultimatum on a possible stimulus package. The latest on efforts for economic recovery and another possible stimulus check for your family.
And it's a cold start today, and we have an active weather pattern this week. Your full forecast is coming up.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Monday, October 19th. New numbers show with nearly 2 weeks to go before the election, more than 28 million Americans have already voted.
Both President Trump and Joe Biden spent the weekend trying to rally voters and to get more to vote early. President Trump campaigned in Nevada yesterday, where early voting had started over the weekend. Nevada, by the way, hasn't voted Republican since 2004. Meanwhile, Biden spoke to supporters yesterday in North Carolina. That's a state that voted for him and President Obama in 2008, but went Republican the past two elections.
Early in-person voting starts tomorrow in Wisconsin. A lot of ballots already in for Madison voters. The city clerk says 70% of all requested absentee ballots have been returned and are ready for counting. Across the state, the Wisconsin Elections Commission says that they are seeing unprecedented voter turnouts based on mail-in ballots. As of yesterday, nearly 900,000 absentee ballots had been returned.
Developing this morning, the latest CBS News Battleground tracker shows Joe Biden just ahead of President Trump. You can see that right here. Biden is tracking 5 points ahead of the president, but it is still too close to call this morning. Margin of error shows Wisconsin could still go to either candidate. And with the record-breaking absentee ballots coming in this year, it could take longer to figure out who the winner is. A majority of voters in Wisconsin say they don't expect to know who the president will be for the next 4 years when they go to bed on election night.
Both candidates are scheduled to appear for what is now the second and final presidential debate later this week. The debate commission has not announced any rule changes. It's something they said they would do after the last debate, calling that one chaotic. The commission has set topics for Thursday night, though. They include race in America, climate change, and fighting COVID. The debate starts at 8 p.m. You can watch it right here on CBS.
The DHS did not provide updates on COVID cases across the state over the weekend because of maintenance. We should have new numbers later today, though. And with that, we'll likely see a pretty big jump in cases, given it'll be a 3-day total. Meantime, more than 70,000 new infections were recorded over the weekend across the U.S. That's the first time since July that new cases have hit that mark. 26 states, including Wisconsin, are in the red zone for new infections.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar is blaming the rise in cases on mitigation fatigue. On Meet the Press yesterday, Azar encouraged people to continue to follow guidelines about face coverings, hand washing, and social distancing. He also reminded people to be mindful of indoor household gatherings, saying, quote, "Just because you're related to someone or friends with someone doesn't mean you can't transmit." And new this morning, Twitter has removed a tweet from President Trump's coronavirus advisor that undermined the importance of masks. Dr. Scott Atlas of the White House Coronavirus Task Force wrote in a tweet, quote, "Masks work? No." Dr. Atlas followed with a series of misrepresentations about the science behind the effectiveness of masks in fighting the pandemic. According to Twitter, Atlas violated its policy that prohibits sharing false or misleading content related to COVID that could lead to harm.
6:03 right now. If you don't have insurance, you can now get a free flu shot at the Alliant Energy Center. There will be separate gates and lines for flu shots and COVID-19 tests. Anyone without health insurance or kids ages 6 months to 18 years old on Badger Care are eligible for the shots, no ID necessary. The goal is to prevent what officials are calling a twindemic of flu and COVID-19 and to make sure that everyone who wants a shot can get one. Public Health Madison and Dane County staff say it might also help prepare for the future. You can't get a flu shot, though, and get tested for COVID-19 in the same day there at the Alliant Energy Center. The flu shot site is open Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon to 8, and Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 8 to 4.
Coming up on 6:04 right now, we turn to your First Warn weather forecast with Hattie this morning. This is not the map we like to see this time of the year. Look at all that cold air coming down from Canada.
I know, at least we're not seeing those reds and oranges, which would indicate warmer temperatures. You can see how far south those warmer temperatures have been pushed. Hard to ignore the grays and whites indicating pretty cold temperatures aloft that are now moving down into the northern tier of the United States. What I also want you to notice on this map is the path of the jet stream. Those wind arrows that are moving on the map. Anytime the jet stream is right over top of us, that's when we generally have an active active weather pattern. The jet is generally the storm track across the country. So as we go through this week, we're going to see that jet stream pattern change very little. It'll stay where it is. So our weather pattern is going to be pretty active with many chances for rain this week. Now we are going to warm up a little bit. Look at Thursday at 4. Some of those green colors, that warmer air working its way into southern Wisconsin. So it will be wet but warmer on Thursday. But then as we head through Friday, that colder air pushes back down southward and we turn to cooler temperatures heading into the upcoming weekend. So a pretty active weather pattern, and you're seeing the general storm track across the northern tier of the United States from Montana all the way through the Dakotas into the Ohio River Valley. High pressure has briefly pushed that precipitation out of the area this morning. We have just a few clouds lingering across the area. There is a chance, though, that a little bit of this snow, this precipitation across southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, may work its way into southern Wisconsin. If it does, it'll likely be sprinkles or just a few flurries. But our forecast, again, for the time being, starting off dry here in southern Wisconsin. Here's a look at our current temperatures. It's cold enough to snow in many locations this morning. 22 now in the Dells, 28 in Madison. Platteville's down to 31. Janesville still the warm spot with Mineral Point at 32 degrees. Winds are pretty light. They are from the north, and it's going to stay fairly light through the day today. Take a look at these wind speeds, less than 10 miles an hour. So wind is not going to be a huge factor, but it will be from the north. If there is any clearing this morning, it will quickly be replaced by clouds as we head towards the lunch hour. Take a look at these numbers at noon, only in the 30s. We climb briefly into the 40s. Here's that small chance for a little bit of flurry or sprinkle activity. Most areas, though, likely staying dry. Our temperatures will warm through the week, though. We're back into the upper 40s tomorrow. Rain moves in later on Tuesday. Wednesday, just a slight chance for showers, but a better chance coming Thursday and Friday. May even hear a few rumbles of thunder. We're briefly back into the 60s, but that's the exception, not the rule with this forecast.
Woof. All right, well, I'll take 65. That's fine.
At least for a day, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Addie. 6:06 now. More than 6 million Americans failed to make payments on their homes last month. That's according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. It's another sign of economic fallout from the coronavirus. There is a moratorium on evictions for people making less than $99,000 a year, but that ends on New Year's Eve. Without another stimulus from Congress, some economists worry those payments could leave more Americans homeless next year.
Developing right now at 6:07, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is giving Republicans 48 hours to negotiate a stimulus deal if they want to pass before the election. The Republican-led Senate is planning 2 votes this week on a plan that could bring some financial relief to millions of people. That includes a Tuesday vote on a standalone Paycheck Protection Program bill to help small businesses, and Wednesday's vote on a $500 billion stimulus bill Democrats blocked last month. Democrats have been pushing for a larger deal, more than $2 trillion, and are expected to block the Republicans' effort.
We're 5 days away now from Madison's More Than Pink Walk. First, they had this scheduled for May. They moved it to October. And then the Susan G. Komen organization ultimately decided to go virtual.
Christina Laurie shares the story of one woman who knows firsthand how important support is and is now paying it forward.
I had my last scans in this month of October, and they were stable again. Yay.
4 years into her battle with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer.
Stable Mabel. I am stable Mabel. Here I am.
Lori Nelson's fight had become rather routine.
You know, normally I take my husband with me, and I'm really anxious.
Monthly scans, daily pills, and then came COVID.
So I had to, go to those appointments without having the support of my family. But again, I trust the doctors that are taking care of me.
That trust came instinctively for Lori. By day, she's a nurse in the outpatient surgery wing of UW Hospital.
I guess I showed myself I could do just about anything by myself, because you have to.
But for women diagnosed today,
I've thought a lot about that. I can't even imagine.
Right now, no visitors are allowed in most parts of the hospital. No family members either. So it's Lori who's been watching out for women who've been newly diagnosed.
And I just try and, hold their hand and tell them they're in the right place and they've got the right people taking care of them.
And she really means that.
Remember that what they're having done today and they're terrified about is an everyday job for those surgeons.
Because trust?
You have to trust that you're in the right hands.
Positivity.
I've, learned to appreciate all of the little things.
Community.
just kind words and conversations and times I'm just cherishing.
And a good sense of humor.
Stable Mabel, here I am.
Can get you through anything.
Maybe that's what my shirt should say instead of living for Lori.
Those t-shirt plans are already in the works for Lori's 5th walk next year. But first, she's living in the moment, still raising money for this Saturday's event. Her team name is fittingly Livin' with Lori. You can still donate to Lori's team, another team, or even start your own team at KomenWisconsin.org. And join us Saturday morning as we kick off this year's More Than Pink virtual walk live on News 3 Now at 8 a.m.
It's Christina Laurie reporting. And a reminder, all of the money raised stays local and helps fund breast cancer treatment, child care, and transportation to and from treatments for Wisconsin women currently battling the disease.
This week is also a good time for women to schedule their mammograms, especially if you're over the age of 40 or if you have a family history of breast cancer.
6:10 right now. Let's take a look at your first warn traffic on a Monday morning as you head out. A look at downtown area looking A-okay right now. We saw a couple of slowdowns earlier. We are now looking in the green. The rest of Dane County looking like this. No crashes or major delays to speak of. Rock County also looking good this morning. We are moving at posted speeds as we head out the door. Great start to this new work week. That's your first warn traffic.
Coming up, an effort to recall Governor Evers, how many signatures they have and would need by next week.
And attacked and set on fire while walking her dogs. We're going to hear for the first time from the victim of last month's attack in Waukesha. Stay with us.
With Herzing University's Everywhere Classroom, you can earn a degree in today's hottest fields online. For a limited time, we'll waive your enrollment fee. See what your career can turn into. I'm possible at Herzing. Call or click today.
Services, save up to $2,500 on a new Lennox system. But hurry, it's a limited time offer and a beautiful thing.
Here's what you need to know. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. Biden will get rid of Trump's tax giveaways for the super wealthy and make big corporations finally pay their fair share. Biden will use those savings to help working families and seniors, investing in lowering healthcare costs, improving education, and protecting Social Security and Medicare. Biden's plan. Corporations pay more. You benefit.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
We drive everywhere to help our son reach his dream of becoming an elite swimmer. So we enrolled in the Know Your Drive program with American Family Insurance. It gives us discounts for safe driving and other benefits, like emergency roadside service, which comes in handy, no matter where his dreams take him. With Know Your Drive, save up to 20% and get closer to your dreams. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
Hi. Think you're managing your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease?
Are you okay?
I did. But even when I was there, I never knew when my symptoms would keep us apart. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira is for people who still have UC or Crohn's symptoms after trying other medications. And Humira helps people achieve remission that can last, so you can experience few or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, remission is possible.
To the thousands of Herzing University nursing and healthcare alumni, for your tireless commitment, and to all of your brave colleagues across America, we say thank you. I'm possible at Herzing.
Welcome back at 6:14. Breaking overnight, Madison police investigating shots fired on the city's west side. Police say they got multiple reports of gunfire just before 1 this morning near Raymond and Russet roads. Officers found 3 shell casings at the intersection of Russet and Cameron Drive near the Meadowood Shopping Center, but no property damage or injuries were reported. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
In a few hours, a judge will hear the case challenging the governor's emergency health order. Last week, a Sawyer County judge temporarily blocked the governor's order that established a capacity limit of 25% for most indoor establishments. Today's hearing will start at Barron County Court at 9 o'clock. You can watch it live on the court's YouTube channel.
Organizers of an effort to remove Governor Evers from office say they still need around 43,000 signatures to force a recall election. They have a little more than a week left to submit the official recall petition to the Wisconsin Elections Commission. According to WEC, the minimum number of signatures needed to get the recall on the ballot is 1/4 of votes cast for the governor in the last election. That's nearly 700,000 signatures. Organizers of the petition say the GOP has separated itself from this effort. The Republican and Democratic parties, as well as the Evers administration, did not respond to a request for comment. There are new details emerging this morning on the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan's governor. You're taking a look now at evidence played in federal court. It shows the field training exercises federal prosecutors say were part of preparations to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Beyond the videos, the FBI says they also infiltrated encrypted chats and text chains, laying out the entire plot. In one of those chats, the suspects allegedly discussed killing Governor Whitmer, not just kidnapping her.
A Waukesha woman who was set on fire is now sharing her story of recovery. A warning that some of the photos we're about to air may be graphic.
It was very quick. It happened very fast.
That's Amber Fuller. She was attacked while walking her dogs. The criminal complaint accuses Joel Mern of setting her on fire. Fuller says Mern threw something on her back. She tried to run, but fell.
Tried to kick him away, do anything I could to defend myself. He just reached down and took a lighter to my arm, and that was it. It was immediate shock and pain. It's a pain that I can't even describe.
Fuller suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns on her arm and back. Documents say she was not the intended victim and that Mern wanted to kill his cousin. Fuller is currently receiving skin grafts and red light therapy to treat her injuries. Mern is scheduled to be back in court Wednesday for a review hearing.
6:16 developing this morning. Another new wildfire burning in Colorado is forcing thousands to evacuate. The so-called Calwood fire started around noon Saturday, scorching more than 8,000 acres so far. One person has been injured as it threatens nearly 2,000 homes yet. 26 buildings have already been destroyed. According to the Denver Post, the fire is about 15% contained right now. 6:17 is your time. Hattie's here with a look at your first warn weather forecast. Hattie, no more frost advisories and freeze warnings out there because it's the end of the growing season in Wisconsin.
Yeah, for all practical purposes, the growing season has ended. You may have a few flowers. I know I have a couple that haven't frozen just yet, but they might be a little cold this morning. Here's a look at the map showing you all counties included in that gray color, meaning the growing season has ended for southern Wisconsin. That's why, even though we have cold conditions this morning, we're not seeing any freeze warnings in effect from the National Weather Service. They're done issuing those for the season. Here's a look at our temperatures this morning. Again, it is below freezing in most spots. 28 here in Madison, 30 in Monroe, 21 in the Dells and Camp Douglas. Temperatures just seem to keep falling to the north, where skies are definitely clear this morning. Here's a look at Doppler track. It is cold enough to support some snow. The lower levels of the atmosphere are pretty dry, though, so we're not seeing any precipitation in the area in the morning hours at least. There is a chance for a few flurries or sprinkles a little bit later on today. As you head to the bus stop, you'll want those extra layers today. It is chilly outside. I can vouch for that. Bundle up this morning, 29 degrees as you head to school. Temperatures will be a little warmer on the way home, but again, there may be a few sprinkles or flurries flying across southern Wisconsin. Speaking of wet weather, coming up, we'll talk more about our chances for rain in the upcoming forecast as we go through the week.
Okay, thanks for keeping an eye on it, Hads. 6:18 now. Social isolation is a frequent consequence of hearing loss, and poor hearing can also be linked with dementia. Consumer Reports takes a look at the benefits hearing aids could provide.
See if I can give you a little more clarity.
Michael Karpf came to see an audiologist when he realized he couldn't hear a client at his work on a busy construction site. He saw a pattern in other areas of his life.
I was isolated from the people I was talking to. I would sit out conversations and tend to not respond properly.
His audiologist says she sees real improvement in her patients' quality of life once they can hear better.
They're more engaged, they're happier.
Beyond alleviating social isolation, can hearing aids affect cognitive decline?
A recent study from the University of Michigan has found that using hearing aids is associated with a reduced risk of dementia and other problems.
The study found that older people who received hearing aids within 3 years of a hearing loss diagnosis had lower rates of dementia, depression, and even falls than those who didn't get hearing aids.
It's too early to say definitively whether using hearing aids can reduce your risk of cognitive decline, but using them can help improve how you understand and respond to other people.
Some common hearing loss red flags: turning up the volume on your TV, frequently asking people to repeat themselves, or missing parts of phone conversations. Consumer Reports recommends immediately seeking professional help if you experience any hearing loss. The problem could be fixable, like an infection, earwax buildup, or a damaged eardrum. And if it turns out you do need a hearing aid, an audiologist can help sort through what would work best for you.
Coming up on CBS This Morning, Adriana Diaz will be live in Madison this morning talking to community about the pandemic and how it's affecting their vote in the upcoming election.
And in our next half hour, working and learning from home, giving us all a lot of extra screen time lately. We'll take a look at how a monitor could be affecting our vision, especially your kids. Stay with us.
With a nursing degree, helping others went from a job to a career.
Attic Angel Community has earned a reputation as the one and only. But what's so memorable to the people who live here?
It's good local heart. Interesting friends.
The view from my window.
Continuing education.
The food.
The amazing art studio.
Happy hour.
There are many reasons to love Attic Angel Community, but there's just one Attic Angel.
Replacing your windows with Renewal by Andersen is easy. We're here when you need us, and we'll work with you the way you want. We can inspect your windows from the exterior of your home. And when it's time to install your new windows, we complete most jobs in as little as 1 day, minimizing the amount of time in your home. Our teams take health and safety seriously. It's the kind of experience you've come to expect from the Renewal by Andersen name, and the promise you deserve with our signature service.
We aren't radical, so why would we want one representing us in Madison? Chris Marion is an extreme partisan liberal who's just fine with calling political opponents Nazis, dictators, and enemies. And Chris Marion wants to take more of your paycheck, too. Marion supports eliminating levy limits, causing property taxes to skyrocket, crushing families as they try to recover. And Marion backs the radical Green New Deal that will cost trillions, destroy jobs, and increase taxes. Chris Marion, just too radical.
I've always had jobs centered on helping people, but now with a nursing degree from Herzing University, I've made it a career.
Having a job was one thing, but having a career, to me, that meant something completely different. With a little hard work and a degree from Herzing University, anything is possible.
I'm possible at Herzing.
We took a bad economy that was falling and turned it around. Trump took a good economy and drove it back into the ditch through his failure to get COVID under control, his failure to deliver real relief to working people. Does he not understand and see the tens of millions of people who've had to file for unemployment this year so far? The people who lost wages while the cost of groceries have gone up dramatically? Donald Trump has been almost singularly focused on the stock market, the Dow and NASDAQ. Not you, not your families. My plan will help create at least 5 million new, good-paying jobs and create them right here in the United States of America. Let's use this opportunity to take bold investments in American industry and innovation so that the future is made in America. I'll be laser focused on working families. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
6:20 6:23 now. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sending in your pictures of what your morning looks like. Kevin's always sending us some good ones. Here's a peek of what I imagine his summer looked like. Kind of a nice throwback. Yeah, it doesn't look like that anymore, huh?
That's amazing.
We're starting to get past peak, so everything's turning brown.
I know. We have kind of a yucky forecast, too.
Yeah, we're going to be done with the colors pretty close here. Hey, Kevin, thanks for sending in your picture. Make sure you're sending in yours by using the hashtag MyNewsThroughMorning. We find them over on social media and pop them up this time of morning.
That photo makes me warm. I'm thinking warm thoughts this morning.
Good for you, because I am freezing over here. It's cold in the studio.
It's like a slap to the face outside today. All right, well, trendy now this morning, guys. There's a new way for you to hang out with your social bubble. AMC Theaters is letting customers rent out auditoriums for private screenings. You're allowed to invite up to 20 friends and family members to join you. The starting price is $100, but depending on what movie you pick and if you want popcorn, that price can go up to $350. Some of the movies to choose from here include Shrek, Hocus Pocus, Jurassic Park, and The Conjuring. The AMC in Madison is one of those theaters participating.
What do you think about this?
I thought the indoor limit for gatherings was 10.
Here in Madison, this is probably across the country, though, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. Check if you're going to do this. You know, you might be limited to 10 people inside the theater. But hey, there's an alternative for people who are hankering to get into the theater.
Chris is counting out his friends like last night. You probably have 10 kids by now, geez.
I know.
I mean, you're set.
I don't think we'll even make the list.
4 left after you count the fam.
Well, hey, it's a forecast to want to get inside and watch a movie, Hattie. I tell you what.
Yeah, it's a snuggle up forecast.
It is, yeah. Start the fire, maybe a nice pumpkin spice candle. Just hunker in.
Yeah, maybe a little tough to get out of bed this morning. It's chilly outside. Here's a live look from the WIC TV sky camera. Some cloud cover in the area, but a few breaks in those clouds. We're able to see a little bit of the sky right now. No snow left on the radar map at this hour, although can't rule out a few flurries or even some sprinkles as we head into the afternoon. Take a look at our chilly temperature trend today. We're talking just highs in the low 40s this afternoon, so very chilly. Normally this time of the year we would be still topping in the middle 50s. We're well below that today.
All right, thanks, Hattie. Stick around. Our last half-hour News 3 Now this morning will start right after this.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Whether you're looking to connect with customers, find new ones, or sell more of your awesome stuff, Constant Contact has powerful email marketing tools and more to help you do more business online. Power on with Constant Contact. Try it free today.
Why Cedar? Because when I get home, we like to play crocodile on the floor. Promus Max's pad removes over 99% of bacteria with just water. Better cleaning with less waste. Cedar, it feels great to feel at home.
Joe Biden was raised with middle-class values. Joe doesn't need to be the center of attention or see himself on TV. He has always focused on getting the job done. Joe led us out of the 2008 recession and increased health coverage for millions. As president, Joe will focus on getting us out of our crises. He'll listen to experts, work across the aisle, and put the American people first. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
For over 60 years, wishes have come true at Blaine's Farm and Fleet's original Toyland. And now through Wednesday, our Toyland celebration has great deals for everyone's wish list. Like these Melissa and Doug play sets, only $39.99. 14-piece combo wrench sets are only $19.99. These special buy throw blankets are just $12.99 while supplies last. And buy online or on our mobile app and pick up your items in our convenient drive-thru. Wishes do come true. Now through Wednesday at Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Toyland celebration.
Joe Biden will make health care affordable. His plan gives a tax credit to help working families pay insurance premiums, lowers prescription costs by 60%, and protects coverage for pre-existing conditions. No matter what, he'll pay for it by getting rid of Donald Trump's tax cuts for the super rich. Because Joe knows our economy's strength doesn't come from the top. It comes from working families. And that's who he's fighting for every day.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Legendary. Legendary. Are you ready? Are you ready? Better make way. get $2,000 customer cash on a new 2020 Camry or new 2020 RAV4. Visit Toyota.com to learn more. Toyota, let's go places.
Get more help with your laundry at the laundry cleanup sale now at the Brothers Maine. Save time and money with the latest in laundry from Whirlpool, Maytag, and Amana with 0% financing for up to 18 months. Get even more help with free delivery on washer-dryer pairs and a risk-free 30-day price and satisfaction guarantee. That's why we're the More Store. It's the laundry cleanup sale with more selection, more savings, and more help with your laundry. Only at the Brothers Maine, your local store for more since 1938.
Early voting in Wisconsin starts tomorrow. Why some cities or sites could see long lines while others may not.
Temps below freezing and many chances for precipitation in the forecast. All the details coming up.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
And a chilly start to your Monday morning. You said you didn't really notice it outside this morning?
Born and bred Wisconsin, buddy.
Man,
what can I say? It's got to be like -20 before I'm cold.
Just a little chilly out there for you. Hattie will have some changes in the forecast coming up, too, in a moment. So it's been 3 days now since the DHS last updated us on coronavirus cases in Wisconsin.
The department's website is undergoing some system maintenance this morning, which is expected to wrap up later today. The last update we got, though, was on Friday. That's when the state reported more than 4,000 new cases in a single day. At least 34,000 people have active cases and are still contagious.
Coronavirus cases surging right now, and Wisconsin schools are feeling it. Some of them are going virtual starting today. All schools in the district of Monroe will log on for classes. Harrington Elementary in Janesville will also go virtual today. Several staff there are in quarantine. And as we first reported last week, Toki Middle School and Orchard Ridge Elementary here in Madison are still closed for the next 2 weeks because of possible COVID-19 cases. On Friday, Madison schools made the announcement that they'll go virtual for the entire second quarter.
With so many kids learning virtually and even parents working from home, we are all looking at our screens quite a bit. Amanda Quintana has more on how your computer could be impacting your eyes in this week's Time for Kids segment.
We've all seen the ads for blue light glasses claiming to protect your eyes from the bright screen, but do they work? SSM Health optometrist Dr. Nathaniel Harkins says blue light is part of natural light and exists in all light. It's the wavelength that shows up as a blue color when it's reflected back to us. He says visible light, like blue light, isn't very dangerous. The light we should worry about is UV light.
The amount of light that really gets into our eyes and our visual system from indoor lighting sources like a computer or a phone or even your desk lamp is really, really low compared to what we get when we just go outside.
While blue light doesn't damage our eyes, some studies say it can make it harder to go to sleep. Dr. Harkins says there's not evidence that blue light lenses are helpful, but some patients do report less headaches or feelings of eye strain. There's no data to prove that they work, but Dr. Harkins says they're not harmful. If your child is experiencing headaches or blurry vision from looking at their screens, Dr. Harkins recommends taking them for a routine eye exam. He says using the lenses would only block about 10% of light, so that probably won't fix the problem.
Amanda Quintana reporting. Early in-person voting in Wisconsin will start tomorrow. If you choose to vote this way, you'll have to bring a valid photo ID. Depending on where you live, dates and times for early in-person voting vary. Most allow it through October 30th or 31st. In Madison, clerks give you an extra day, and it ends on November 1st. We've seen long lines already in cities where in-person voting has started, but in Wisconsin, those lines might only happen in certain cities. The director of UW-Madison's Elections Research Center says that he expects in-person turnout to vary across the state. He says wait times will depend on the number of polling locations and whether local officials have installed absentee drop-off boxes.
The city of Madison has already set up 14 ballot boxes across the city. The secure boxes are made of steel and have instructions written on them for you. Sworn workers will be collecting ballots from those boxes every day at 5 p.m. Now, those numbers on your screen, those are the most recent counts from the city clerk's office. Nearly 200 people dropped off their ballots yesterday. More than 1,100 ballots have been returned since Friday. Voters in Michigan will not be able to openly carry guns within 100 feet of polling places, clerk's offices, or any other election site on Election Day. Several people have raised concerns about voter safety in that state. This after President Trump encouraged his supporters to watch the polls. Guns had been openly carried in that state's capital earlier this year in protest of the governor's mask mandate. The president of Open Carry Michigan says the group doesn't think the state has the authority to implement the order. Wisconsin, meanwhile, doesn't have any laws preventing voters or bystanders from bringing guns to polling places.
Developing this morning at 6:33, a new CBS News Battleground poll shows Joe Biden has a slight lead over President Trump in Wisconsin, but the race is no longer about candidates changing voters' minds. Instead, it's about encouraging supporters to actually show up. Voters say they've largely already made up their minds about who they support, and in Wisconsin, many have already made it official. Nearly 860,000 Wisconsinites have already cast their vote. CBS reports Democrats have the lead in early return ballots so far, but most of the president's supporters still mostly plan to vote in person. The coronavirus pandemic is another major factor for voters this election cycle. The outbreak isn't only shaping who people will vote for, it's also impacting how they vote. Many Wisconsinites are switching to mail-in ballots and are doing so because of the pandemic. 9 in 10 Biden voters say the pandemic is a major factor in their decision to vote for him. More than half of likely voters in the state say Biden would handle the virus better than President Trump. Coming up on 6:35 this morning, Hattie's here with a look at your first Warren weather forecast and the 3 things to know. Bundle up this morning. That is what you need to know right there.
Yeah, you're going to want the jacket. I've been outside this morning. It is chilly. Feels like the coldest morning so far this season. We have temperatures that are below the freezing point across most of southern Wisconsin. Now, we have a pretty active weather pattern setting up as well. Many chances for showers this week. A few chances for some flurries to mix in as well. But overall, we're going to see a warming trend as we go through most of the week. So milder temperatures are just a couple of days away. Here's a look at that high temperature trend. This is what I'm talking about. 42 today. That is well below normal. 65, though, on Thursday. Notice, though, that 65-degree reading is the exception, not the rule, as we trend towards the weekend and next week. Temperatures are back in the 40s. Now, the normal high this time of the year, 56 degrees. So most of the days out of the next 10 are going to be below normal. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. We have had some light snow showers showing up on the radar map south of Madison. Not a lot of that actually hitting the ground. There are still some snow showers, though, moving across Minnesota, northern parts of Iowa. They'll continue to track eastward through the day. As temperatures warm, we may see a few sprinkles or flurries here in southern Wisconsin. But for the time being, a pretty quiet start to the day. Weather track showing you patchy cloud cover across southern Wisconsin, north and west of Madison, where skies have been clear for at least a couple of hours. That's where we're seeing the coldest temperatures. It's 21 in Camp Douglas, 22 in the Dells, 28 here in Madison. Janesville's actually up a couple of degrees since last hour, now 34 degrees. But it is chilly across southern Wisconsin. Our future track forecast model doing a pretty good job showing that break in the cloud cover early this morning. As we head towards the lunch hour, though, look what happens. We cloud over. Temperatures are still just in the 30s at lunchtime. This afternoon, here's that chance for a few sprinkles or flurries, especially west of the area or south of Madison. Otherwise, most areas staying dry. Highs will be in the lower 40s, but will only be in the 40s for a couple of hours. Most of the evening time will be back in the 30s. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We're going to start tomorrow in the 20s once again. Look for some rain showers to develop later on in the day on Tuesday and continue into Tuesday night. Just a slight chance for rain on Wednesday, but we're at least back into the 50s. Thursday will be the warm day out of the next 10, but look for some showers and even some thunderstorms to move through the area.
Thunderstorms over snow hads, I'll take it.
That is true, I agree.
Thank you very much. 6:37 now as coronavirus outbreaks continue to spread across Wisconsin. Local leaders say money for health departments is running out. Now folks in Milwaukee County are asking Congress to act. Money from the Federal CARES Act has been helping, but it has to be spent by the end of the year. When that money goes to Wisconsin, it's up to the state to give it to local governments. Now local leaders are asking Congress to send that money directly to health departments.
Our hands are so tied that without state and particularly federal government help and assistance, I don't know how we meet the need.
With no end in sight for the pandemic, leaders also want the money to continue through next year.
Developing right now at 6:38, time is running out for lawmakers to come to an agreement on a stimulus bill before the November election. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says a deal needs to be made within the next 36 hours to make it happen. On again, off again discussions between Pelosi and the White House have been dragging on for months now. Pelosi says she doesn't agree with the language of the proposals Republicans have been sending her. Meanwhile, the Senate expected to vote on Wednesday on a skinny $500 billion deal. It's essentially the same legislation Democrats had blocked last month. The money would go to small businesses.
New this morning, a new study shows paid sick leave benefits significantly reduce coronavirus cases. That's according to a study in the journal Health Affairs. Researchers say a sick leave provision passed by Congress in March prevented 400 cases per day per state. That's roughly 15,000 prevented cases. That federal benefit is set to expire, though, at the end of the year. It does not apply to companies with more than 500 employees. Also new this morning, public health researchers say pandemic lockdowns could lower premature birth rates. Studies in Ireland and Denmark show preterm births had decreased during spring lockdowns. Their best guess so far is that reduced stress on mothers, cleaner air, and better hygiene may have contributed. Researchers hope these findings will help them learn more about the cause of premature births.
A Canadian couple is using a loophole to allow guests at their wedding. Lindsay and Alex got married on a New Brunswick pier last week, surrounded by 50 guests. Another 15 loved ones watched from the other side of the St. Croix River in the U.S. And right in the middle were the couple's grandparents. They watched the ceremony from a boat in the middle of the water. The bride and groom say they didn't want to wait for the pandemic to end for their marriage to begin.
Well, the Packers coming off their first loss of the season yesterday to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a great start for the Packers, up 10-0 and just cruising until Aaron Rodgers did this. Good read by the cornerback there. Interception takes it all the way back. Bucs piled on 38 unanswered points yesterday to go on to win it 38-10. The Packers now in second place in the NFC North behind the Chicago Bears.
Painful.
Ugh. I blame all of the people over the last 2 weeks who were like, Packers are the best.
No interceptions.
Aaron Rodgers is the best.
Right.
We're cruising. Everything's sunny and rosy. Right. And what happens?
Boom.
Yeah.
Silver lining. I think this takes the arrogance away a little bit.
Yeah, it brings it back to reality.
Yeah. Gotta work a little bit harder, guys.
Yeah, and even Rodgers said that after the game yesterday. He's like, we're getting too high on ourselves. We needed someone to kind of kick us in the pants and to say that we're not all that we think we are right now.
Tom Brady's the man to do that, I guess.
Yeah, it was a rough one yesterday.
Yeah, it was painful.
So the bye's behind us, and we got a lot more winning to do if we want to catch the Bears now.
Yeah, we'll hear from Coach Matt LaFleur. He'll talk about the game coming up in the morning sprint.
All right, 6:41 right now. Let's take a look at your traffic as we kick off another week right now. We'll take you around the Madison area, starting to see some more slowdowns near the downtown area. East Gorham Street, West Johnson Street, and also East Wash looking a little slow. Park Street as you head inbound, also seeing some yellow there. There's your drive times as you head into the city. We're moving at posted speeds. John Ellen Drive also looking good right now. Let's take a live look outside at 6:41. Beautiful shot from the Edgewater Skycam. Looks like we can see just a little bit of red in there, but Hattie says it's going to be a cold one as we kick off this week. She'll have your Monday forecast coming up.
And a lot of folks still plan to dress up for Halloween, even if that means just hanging out at home in maybe one of these costumes. We're going to show you these pandemic-themed costumes. Yeah, believe it or not, they're pandemic-themed. That's coming up after the break.
The house before you, over 30 years old, still has its original window. It's bone chilling.
Folks, there's no need to be afraid of old windows. Just call Feldco for 50% off.
Right now at Feldco, get 50% off windows. Plus, no interest for 1 year.
50% off windows ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I worked for 47 years. Donald Trump, he's talking about messing with my Social Security. Them guys think it's monopoly money? No, it's our money. We work for it. You don't get to play with my finances. You don't get to play with my security for my family. Joe Biden looks out for the little guy. He understands what seniors are going through. I think he's going to keep Social Security safe. We need to get Biden in there to protect it.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Because talk is cheap. Let's look at what Joe Biden's done. During the last economic crisis, President Obama trusted Joe to lead the recovery and bring us back. Now he has the plan to do it again, to revive and reinvest in jobs and real help for middle-class families. He'll listen to experts to get control of the virus so we can build back even better. Joe Biden, a president to get it done. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
He's our independent voice who answers to no one but us, Todd Novak. Todd Novak is working across the aisle, passing the bipartisan COVID-19 relief bill, helping hospitals and communities get the resources needed to fight the coronavirus. Todd Novak is helping families, small businesses, and farmers as we work to rebuild the economy safely. And Todd Novak led the bipartisan effort to make sure our water is clean and safe for future generations. Our voice, Todd Novak for State Assembly.
Don't worry, Julie. Coughing's not new. This woman coughs, and that guy does too. People cough in the country, at sea, and downtown. But don't worry, Julie. Robitussin shuts coughs down.
Patients that have sensitivity, it's very common to have a gum health concern as well. You know, I talk to dentists every day, and they're able to recommend Sensodyne, sensitivity, and gum. It's really good dentistry to be able to recommend one product that can address two conditions.
Accurate news as it happens, right here where you live. Information that you can use from the team you can trust. For more local stories that impact your life, News 3 Now.
Join News 3 Now October 24th for the Komen Virtual More Than Pink Walk.
Register, raise funds, and walk where you are. Bring us closer to a world without breast cancer. Step out for the Komen Virtual More Than Pink Walk.
Halloween's 2 weeks out, and if you're still planning on dressing up, we have some interesting PG-13 costumes to share with you.
Yeah, let's take a peek at these. All right, the website Yandy is creating new costumes based on lockdown trends. A little risque. Some of this year's sexy costumes include an absentee ballot, banana bread, that's banana bread, and this next one is hand sanitizer. The company is known for making controversial and sometimes offensive costumes, but Yandy tells Business Insider they're drawing the line at the pandemic.
Yeah.
What line did they draw? Where is that line?
Yeah.
We decided you really can't tell that's banana bread. That's super confusing. And
you got to ask what it is, the costume doesn't work.
Yeah, and then this clear skirt just keeps catching my eye.
Those definitely aren't like Wisconsin appropriate for October.
They look chilly. Yeah.
Remember how much snow did we get last year in Halloween?
5 inches.
Yeah. Can you imagine wearing that?
I forgot about that.
5 inches of snow.
So you're not going to go out as banana bread?
Yeah, no one's going out. I mean, I guess you're just wearing those inside, right?
Yeah. You could just like show it off to the street, like just
in the window.
Don't scare the kids, Josh.
Well, I know, no, but I was talking like not about that. I was talking about like trick or treating. You know, you could dress up the family, walk down the street and back, maybe just show it off to the neighborhood, but not one of those.
You're gonna freeze.
Yeah, that's cold. All right, 6:46 right now, and it's a cold start out there this morning. Coldest morning so far for us. I mean, it feels really, really chilly out there.
Yes, here in Madison, we're down in the 20s, 28. Take a look at our sky camera shot, though. Kind of an interesting sunrise that we have. A little bit of cloud cover moving overhead right now. No precipitation falling from those clouds, although earlier the radar map was showing a little bit of snow in southeastern Wisconsin. Most of that probably evaporated before it hit the ground. It's a pretty active weather pattern, though, across the northern tier of the United States. You can see a couple of storm systems lining up to our west, so we have more chances for precipitation in our forecast. Most of today will be dry, just a few flurries or sprinkles possible. Tomorrow morning will be likely dry, but late in the afternoon into the evening, that's when I would expect some showers to move into the area. It will be warm enough at that time that I'm expecting all rain. Temperatures, though, this morning, if we had precipitation, would be cold enough for snow. 22 in the Dells, 21 in Camp Douglas, 28 here in Madison and Watertown. Juneau's down to 25. Here's a look at our pet walk forecast. Suki and Dilbert in Janesville. Aren't they cute? They're sharing the biggest stick ever.
I love how the big end goes to the bigger dog.
Branch.
Yeah. I don't know where they found that one, but it's going to be chilly if you're heading out for a dog walk at 3, maybe a little shorter than the last couple of days, because 42 is the high.
All right, thanks, Addie. Stick around. The morning sprint is coming up after the break.
Look Who's 3 is sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
When Joe Biden wants an update on the virus, he calls on the nation's top health experts. Working together for all Americans is what Joe does. When writing his healthcare plan, Joe Biden worked with both doctors and patients to make healthcare affordable by lowering premiums, reducing drug costs, and protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Joe listened to both small business owners and workers to create his economic plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families, creates 18 million new jobs in his first term, and raises wages by as much as $15,000 a year. Joe Biden's plans will help working families immediately by making the super rich finally pay their fair share. For Joe, it's never been about ego. It's always been about the work he can do for working families. It's what he's always done. Joe Biden brings everyone to the table and gets it done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
It's A1 Furniture's 41st anniversary sale. Over $1 million of in-stock inventory is available now with free white glove delivery on any purchase of $9.99 or more. Plus, get 4 years free financing with qualified purchase. Don't miss A1 Furniture's 41st anniversary sale. Going on now.
Time to start brushing with Parodontax toothpaste? If your gums bleed when you brush, the answer is yes. The clock may be ticking towards worse. Parodontax is 3 times more effective at removing plaque, the main cause of bleeding gums. Parodontax.
Services, save up to $2,500 on a new Lennox system. But hurry, it's a limited time offer and a beautiful thing.
We all know that we must fix our criminal justice system. Here is Joe Biden's plan to reform it. Ending mandatory minimum sentences, ending private prisons, and end cash bail. A real plan for real change.
I believe my criminal justice reform package is as strong or stronger than anyone else, that anyone has proposed.
We will create a system that's fair and just.
And we can get there together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
Sun Country Airlines flies you to tropical destinations from Dane County Regional Airport.
6:51, time for the morning sprint.
It's been 3 days since the last DHS update on coronavirus cases in Wisconsin. The department's website is undergoing some maintenance. That's expected to wrap up sometime today, and we'll see an update later. The last update we got was Friday when the state reported more than 4,000 cases and at least 34,000 people we know are still active and contagious. CBS News is going to be live at Madison on CBS this morning with more on how the pandemic is impacting Wisconsinites.
Coronavirus surges in Wisconsin are forcing several area schools to go virtual. Starting today, all schools in the District of Monroe will log on for classes. Harrison Elementary in Janesville will go virtual today as well, and several staff there are in quarantine. As we first reported last week, Toki Middle and Orchard Ridge Elementary are still closed for the next 2 weeks because of possible cases.
When a coronavirus vaccine is available, CVS and Walgreens will help distribute it. President Trump says the federal government partnered with the companies to get the vaccine to people in long-term care facilities. It'll be up to the two chains to figure out how they'll deliver the vaccines. They'll also be the ones in charge of how to collect money from Medicare, Medicaid, or other insurers.
Nose swabs are critical in helping detect coronavirus, but there could be a new test that's a little less invasive. Researchers are testing out a new oral rinse test in Kentucky. Patients would swish the liquid around for a minute, just like mouthwash, before spitting it back into a tube. If it's effective enough, we could eventually see it here in Wisconsin.
Only 2 states, 2 of them, just 2, are showing decreases right now in COVID-19 cases, Missouri and Vermont. The rest of the country is up. Overall, we're seeing a more than 60% increase in new cases since mid-September. Despite the rise in cases and deaths, Dr. Anthony Fauci says he doesn't think the country should shut down.
We are learning coronavirus patients in the ICU have a much higher risk of death if they have kidney disease. Researchers in London say people with both pre-existing and new kidney injuries brought on by the virus had a 50% chance of dying. That's compared to just 20% of patients without kidney issues.
Breaking within the last 2 hours, we've learned there are now more than 40 million lifetime cases of COVID across the world. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. The United States has more cases and deaths than any other country. India and Brazil have the second and third highest lifetime cases.
Were you surprised that President Trump got sick?
Absolutely not. I was worried that he was going to get sick when I saw him in a completely precarious situation.
Dr. Anthony Fauci also not surprised that the virus has spread among people close to the president. On CBS's 60 Minutes, the infectious disease expert says he knew nothing good would come out of the Rose Garden event where only a few wore masks and there was no social distancing.
Ivanka Trump, meanwhile, will be back in Wisconsin tomorrow. This will be the president's daughter's second trip to Wisconsin in just a week. She'll go to Milwaukee for a campaign event. This also comes 3 days after President Trump himself held a rally in Janesville.
Justin, to the newsroom, police say a Madison man is in jail for driving drunk and threatening officers. Officers say it happened on South Park Street near the Pick and Save just before 8 last night. They had gotten a call about a car that hit a curb and was possibly abandoned. Instead, they found 50-year-old Alfred Jones. Police say his breath smelled like alcohol and didn't pass field sobriety tests. Police say Jones threatened to beat up, disarm, and shoot the officers during the arrest process.
Because this is not fun, and you know, it was a pretty frustrating night.
Yeah, not very fun to watch either. The Packers lost their first game of the season yesterday to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, yeah, they were off to a great start, up 10-0, and then Aaron Rodgers threw his first interception of the night. Packers ended up losing this one 38-10. They are in second place now in the NFC North behind the Chicago Bears.
The LA Dodgers will play the Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. It'll be the Dodgers' third trip to the World Series in 4 years, but they haven't won a world title since 1988. The team overcame a 3-1 series deficit by stringing together 3 consecutive wins. Game 1 is tomorrow night.
Today is the first day of UW-Madison's homecoming week. The pandemic forced the university to pivot plans to online. So instead of the usual homecoming parade, Badgers can attend a virtual 5th quarter before Friday's football game. Organizers hope it'll help bring the community together during the pandemic. The university will also offer multicultural events for alumni of color. The Badgers' first game of the season is Friday at 7.
Final look at traffic at 6:55 this morning as you head out on this Monday. This is how things are shaping up. A couple of delays near downtown area, East Wash and East Gorham Street near the Capitol looking a little slow. Park Street not too bad for this time of the day. There's your drive times as you head inbound. 64 miles an hour right now on the interstate, or on the Beltline rather, as you go west from the interstate. John Olin Drive in and outbound looking good. That's your first one traffic.
Just a sliver of sunshine on the horizon this morning as we look from the Edgewater Skycam out towards the Capitol. Look for temperatures that are definitely chilly, though. Temps are about 5 to 15 degrees colder than they were this time yesterday. The actual numbers, many spots are in the 20s. Here's a look at our forecast today. Look for variably cloudy skies with a high of just 42.
All right, Hattie, thank you. Thanks for joining us this morning, folks. Have a great one. See you tomorrow.